Jeffro from 2Hex Garage. Well, back at Jimmy's. However, this video, we're not going to be working on the Dragster or anything like that, but it has to do with the Dragster. A lot of people have been asking, what are we doing for a power plant in this thing? Well, we're going to explain that today. We're going to explain what's going to go in this front engine Dragster engine build. We're going to go over the parts a little bit in detail and kind of explain why. Jimmy's going to be assembling this engine soon, probably off camera. A lot of these guys, myself included, of doing something high performance like that, have a whole lot of little tips and tricks there, and they're just not going to show on camera. It's the speed secrets that make things go fast, make it durable, and make it sing to the moon.
I have secrets.
Jimmy's got secrets. Good secrets, really good secrets. But yeah, with that, guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of this offhand real quick. I talked about wanting to build a 302 cubic inch small block. We decided to change our minds on that. Jimmy's got a whole bunch of race parts sitting around, different combinations and all that. And due to budget constraints and really to make a whole lot of power, we decided to go with what he ran in his last Dragster, which is a 409 cubic inch small block Chevy. It's based off an early 70s 400 block. So with that, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the little parts and pieces we got and explain how we got there. See you in a few minutes. All right, well, first off is the engine block. Like I said, the engine block is actually an early 70s 400 block. It's been taken 40 over, so it's got a 4.165 inch bore with the crank, which I'll show you in a minute. This thing comes out to be 409 cubic inches. We've already done all the machining on it. It's honed. It's ready to go. It's even painted. We got the Milodon freeze plug kit in it. Although we're not going to be running any coolant, any water, anything like that in it, we went ahead and got that put in. In addition to that, we also got the cam bearings installed, which are actually a Clevite 77. So Jimmy's been working on this. I'm going to make this video and get out of his hair. Like I said, he's been doing this a long time. He knows these combinations quite well, and he's not going to be showing that on camera. That's decades of experience and decades.
Not that big a deal because I'm basically refinishing it. I'm not worth a hoot at singing, but she's real fine, my 409.
Yes, so that's kind of a little joke. She's real fine, my 409. But it's not the W-Head 409. This one here happens to be a small block Chevy 409. But as you can see, it's coming together. Let's go to the parts now. All right, so kind of the first part on this, you're always going to have an assortment of gaskets. We're using the Fel-Pro Performance head gaskets on this. The part numbers are the 1044s. That's going to seal everything up. We got various oil pan gaskets, various thickness intake gaskets, because the heads we're using are going to determine which thickness we're going to use. And of course, we've got Fel-Pro valve cover gaskets. On to that, well, guys, there's the crankshaft. That is a forged steel Ohio crankshaft. It's 3 3/4 inch stroke. Jimmy's ran this before. We freshly just polished it up. It's balanced. It's ready to rock and roll. Next up here, well, we got the pistons and rods. These also Jimmy has ran in the past. We just need to clean them up. As you can see here, it's a J&E piston. It is forged. These are super lightweight. You can see it's got some nice big bumps on there. We'll talk about the heads here in a few minutes, but I can tell you this much here. That is some super high compression. Yeah. With that, well, we got Manley aluminum rods, real heavy duty. But as far as how big these are and heavy duty they are, they're exactly really, really super light. ARP bolts in the bottom. Pretty sweet. With that, like I said, rest of the parts, what we got going on here, I'm going to show you here in just a second. All right, so first off, let's get to the oiling part. I don't have my distributor here, but a friend of mine, he's setting up my old Vertex magneto. That's going to be for the ignition. But running off that, we'll have an ARP oil pump shaft kit. Pretty nice. Those ARPs always quality. But as you see here, guys, we do have the Milodon oil pan, which is pretty high tech. I believe it's a 10-quart Dragster pan. It's baffled. It's got the windage tray, everything built in. Heavy duty, solid. It's going to be inside the chassis, so it's not going to be dragging down low. That's always a thing you want to look out for when you're building a Dragster. So that's nice. That did come up with the Milodon oil pump pickup for a small block Chevy. It's a screen-based one. And then on top of that, what you have is the Milodon rear oil pan baffle for the small block Chevy. So this goes between the oil pump and the actual block. And what this does is it keeps the oil pushed down at high RPMs. From there, guys, speaking of oil pump, we did go ahead and get the Milodon high performance oil pump. I do believe this is like a Mellings based pump, but they go through here through these pumps. They blueprint them, get them all ready to go. And you know what, guys, this is the heart of the engine. You want to make sure you get a good one. So yeah, that's kind of like the oiling system. We do have a Cloyes Performance Products double roller timing chain. This one here, you can key it and time it any which way you want to go. So that's actually pretty nice. Jimmy's got a secret with this. I saw it. We're not going to show it on camera for a lot of reasons. It's one of his speed secrets on timing and degreeing these cams. But yeah, like I said earlier, we got oh yeah.
They must have bought them.
Oh, Molly did? Oh yeah.
They must.
Jimmy and I are just talking off camera a little bit on rod bearings or main bearings.
It's the same main bearings I use, except for hail or however you pronounce it. Must have bought Clevite out.
So right over there, Jimmy's actually assembling an engine, and we were just talking about some of the main bearings. So you know what? Real quick, let's talk about that. Bearings. We got different kinds of bearings. We got some Moly Performance. We got King Race bearings. We've even got a set of new old stock Vanderwell. My friend Brian from BNR Racing got those. Clevite 77 cam bearings. Well, when we got our piston rings, we have some PBM Performance Race ones, along with some Howard's True Seal Premium rings. The reason we have multiple sets on these is because as we go through this engine, we're talking it through, determining what the best product is to use with what we got. Starter, I know I'm kind of going out of order, but it's sitting right in front of me. It's an MSD Dynaforce starter. This is one of those high torque mini starters that have the gear reduction to really spin it over. Overall compression with this engine is actually going to be 14.2 to 1, and we need everything it's got to get that thing started over. If you see here, once again, more ARP stuff. ARP oil pump stud, of course, ARP flex plate bolts, and a Moroso high performance balancer bolt for the small block Chevy. You can see here in front, Jimmy's old Hilborn timing cover. And here's his, if you want to call it a balancer, it's not, it's more of a degree wheel. This is rocket science here, in my opinion, but not really. It's got the degree markers in here, and it's even got single digit ones. That way, when you set this engine up, you're actually fine tuning it to perfection. You know what? As far as studs and mains, head studs and main studs, it's all ARP hardware. We even did get a complete engine accessory fastener kit. Probably won't use all this because some of them aren't going to work completely with it, but we have it all anyway. Valves, well, they are titanium valves. Jimmy, what size are the valves in these heads?
205, 165.
205, 165 valves. And here below that, well, we've got the valve springs. It's double valve spring. They're Howard's. It's got a titanium retainer. Everything checks out well with those. Once again, thanks, Brian. He came down and used his valve spring tester to check those out. Went through every single one of them. They checked out good. And then you got your, if you want to call it your valve spring, your valve girdles here. This thing holds everything in place for vibration, keeps it all where it needs to be. We have 3 different sets. Those are competition products pieces there. So we're going to show you the heads here in just a minute and show you the cam. But here is our fuel setup here. This is a Hilborn unit. This is the big boy unit. This is the 2 3/16 bore, or it's 2 7/16 bore. Sorry. It's a pretty good size, massive unit. I'll get a close up and show that too. Oh, by the way, guys, here's the main caps. We are running a 4-bolt main block on that. But real quick, let me show you the Hilborn injection setup on this. All right, so here's the Hilborn injection setup. Jimmy's used this one in the past. We're going to get these redone. They're currently Parkerized. But if you look here, this is the Hilborn 327C-, I want to say 8B. Like I said, it's the 2 7/16 bore. This is what I call the big boy version of it. I have the small one. Jimmy's also got another one on this. But if you look inside here, the butterflies in these things are absolutely huge. And the way this works, it sucks in air, and there's actually a port nozzle down here that sprays the fluid, There's all the hoses. There's your pillbox, all your linkage, and all that fun stuff. I don't really know a whole lot about this yet, but I do know that they work awesome when they're set up right. Jimmy's been using those for years, so I have a huge learning curve on that. But yeah, that's the injection setup we're going to use. We have the pump, like I said over there. We have the timing cover. We have everything we need to do that. I just ordered an absolute ton of PTFE fuel line and a ton of AN fittings to make all this work. So with that, guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go show you the camshaft and the cylinder heads. See you in a few. All right, so let's talk camshaft here. This is a Howard's custom roller billet camshaft here. Designed for a small block Chevy. I'll kind of go over some specs on you for you on that real quick. So if you look here, this is the cam card for it. This is a cam Jimmy's used like once or twice. He's got his old cam card here from the alcohol motor, and we're actually going to run the nitro cam. So there's the basic specs that you see on there. You want to take a look at that. And there's the other specs right there on that right there. Pretty neat. And actually, the one thing that we did notice from his old camshaft and his new camshaft is they're the exact same camshaft, except for on the exhaust duration on the nitro cam, it's got 20 degrees more duration added into it. This cam's going to be pretty rowdy, pretty gnarly. Can't wait to hear it. So that was the specs on the cam. Lifters. Well, it's a roller lifter, and these are a Howard's unit. These are in good shape. We just got to clean them up. Push rods. Well, they're a really heavy-duty Howard's camshaft product right there. Very, very heavy-duty on that. Jimmy's used those in the past. They work well. Got a whole bunch of stuff in here that just needs to be cleaned up. Jimmy and I off camera have been going through a whole bunch of parts, making sure we got everything we need. The actual rocker arms, they are a 1.6 ratio crane cams rocker arm. And these are in good shape. Went over and checked them out. Like I said, some of this has been used in a previous engine application that ran really, really, really well. So what we're doing is we're cleaning everything up, and we're going to reuse what's good that Jimmy knows is performance proven. So that is, if you want to call it the valvetrain, part of that piece there, and the camshaft. So let's get into these cylinder heads real quick. These cylinder heads are what makes the power. Jimmy's had them around for a while. They are a Proline, Australian Proline cylinder head. They are extremely, extremely ported out. Like I said, we're going to do a valve job on them and put everything back together. But these cylinder heads are, the chambers in these things are huge. I don't think you can get much more in there and, get it cleaned up. There's a little bit of work you could probably do, but we're not going to go through that. The exhaust.
I bought those brand new, and I had Ron's porting service out of St. Louis. I don't even know if Ron's around, but he did them. And I'll tell you what, they served me very well. Yeah,
so Jimmy bought these heads, had Ron's porting service, do these out of St. Louis, and all that. They do need to be cleaned up, obviously, but, it's got the Moroso studs and valve guide or push rod guides in it. These are a really good cylinder head. As you can see here on the intake ports, they're huge. So for a small block Chevy application, running methanol, maybe the occasional nitro blend, these are going to work really well. Jimmy's had these, and like I said, they just need to be cleaned up, gone through, valve job, put everything back together. Everything's good. It's going to work well. And these have been cut a certain way here on the actual deck surface. They're angle cut. And the reason I showed you those pistons earlier is because the angle of that dome on that piston is pretty much the same angle as this combustion chamber to get it as tight squeeze as you can in there where you're not going to be hitting the valves. So Jimmy's had a lot of work done to these heads over the years, and they've served him quite well. So that's kind of a little, if you want to call it, secret there. But that, going back to the gaskets, that's why we have to have different thickness gaskets, because these heads have been changed radically from when they were new. So yeah, that's the cylinder heads and the camshaft and the valve train. All the rest of the parts are in there. Fuel is going to be M1 methanol, which is going to be nice. And I just got this all cleaned up. If you're wondering what the fuel tank looks like? Well, that's an old moon tank. So yeah, that's our parts. I'm going to go in the other room, kind of do a recap real quick. See you in a few. All right, guys. Well, that's the wrap up on this video. I just wanted to go in a parts overview of what we're using and why. All these products are readily available, like Competition Products, Holly. Good luck finding stuff for some of that Hilborn stuff. But yeah, we're using a lot of high performance products that, you know, pretty much anybody can really afford to do. I do know that the crankshaft, pistons, and rods on Hilborn, yeah, that's a little bit higher price. But everything else we got here, guys, isn't all that crazy. But the way Jimmy's going to be assembling it with all his decades of experience, that's going to be off camera. Those are his speed secrets. We're not going to spill the beans on that. You're going to see at the track what this thing's going to be capable of and why.
Like I'm a Model T.
He invented the Model T. Actually, Model T alphabetically was, you know, there was A, B, you know, whatever.
T was before the A, which don't make a bit of sense.
See, the T was before the A, so he knows that because he invented them. So, so that's where we're at, guys.
I went to school with Henry, he invented them.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where we're at. A whole bunch of cool parts. It's actually pretty awesome getting to this phase of it. Jimmy's got it, like I said, all his secret sauce, speed performance in that. So yeah.
My old friend, they've been parked for, hope they didn't get mad at me. They've been sleeping for
10 years.
10 or 12 years.
Yeah, but those are good rods and pistons. I'm looking forward to firing this thing off. So with that, guys, that's what's going to go in this 409 cubic inch small block Chevy. I know that sounds like an odd number because everyone thinks she's real fine, my 409. But in this case, this is Jimmy's version of the 409. And I can guarantee you it's going to have a little bit more ponies than the original 409. And it's going to be a whole lot lighter. So with that, guys, until the next one, this is Jimmy's Speed Secrets. This is Jimmy's Engine Secrets. It's going to be the behind the scenes, and we're not going to show it to you for a reason.
Not much of a secret nowadays. This is old technology.
Yeah, it's old technology because we're building old school dragster, but it's his secrets. We're not going to show it to you, but we're going to show you what it's capable of at the track because jumping jack flash, it's going to be a gas, gas, gas. With that, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Later.